600 salaried division employees met at the Broadmeadow Youth Club in what was a stop work. They spent some time discussing wide-ranging grievances, most important being the restructuring and allegations that board engineers carried out the duties of other striking workers on Monday. The upshot of it was that they decided to remain on strike indefinitely, causing all board offices to close. Lance Woods is their president.
As a consequence of the board restructuring headworks section, there were a lot of outstanding issues that needed to be addressed, and the board has been very difficult through its Industrial Relations Director of Employee Relations to negotiate any matters on restructures to finality, and the fact also that members from other unions, specifically the APEA, had done work that is normally and traditionally done by members of our association when they were actually on duty on Monday.
So your members are...
Several problems developed with the water supply and sewerage system today, some of which were considered serious enough to be repaired. A break on the main supply line from Chichester was fixed. It could have met restrictions. However, service mains are not being repaired unless there is danger to life or property. And unscreened sewage is being released at Burwood Beach. Spokesman for the board, Chris Ford, said parties have been called to a compulsory conference in the Industrial Commission first thing in the morning.
We hope that the compulsory conference before Commissioner Varnum tomorrow will result in two things. One is a start to negotiations between the board and the Executive Committee of the Wages Division on matters which are of concern to the association, and also a resumption of normal work.
On the point of a conference with the board, the union says that it has wanted a conference with the board, but it's been denied access to the board.
The board, which is appointed by the Minister, is a body which carries out or formulates policy. The actual management of the organisation from day to day is the role of board management, and it is with board management that the unions will negotiate, or will be negotiating.
Yes, but the unions themselves want to talk to the elected board members. Is there no likelihood of that?
Not at this stage, no.
What is the water...
And so to the last word on the dispute tonight, and it's an ominous one, from Barry Tobin, Secretary of the Wages Division Employees.
If the order means the board itself, well, maybe we're somewhere we're on track, but if it means to talk with the board's management, well, I think that this dispute will linger on a little while longer.
The 16 unions involved in the new group cover most industries in the region, with the majority not affiliated with the Newcastle Trades Hall Council. Centre Unity Chairman Len Corrigan says the group has been formed because many unions do not agree with the way Trades Hall is handling most issues.
We have looked at the situation where some statements have been made by the Trades Hall Council, and we don't want our members, or it does confuse our members, thinking that the Trades Hall Council is speaking for all unions in Newcastle, and they don't.
The main aims of the new Centre Unity is to improve the flow of information to Newcastle unions and unionists, improve trade union unity, play an active role in job creation and ensure that development continues in a sensible and coordinated way. They say Trades Hall is not doing enough in these areas. However, Trades Hall Secretary Peter Barrick says the new group is a Clayton's coalition of unions that will only harm union unity.
I find it rather amazing, really. It appears to fly in the face of the trends in the trade union movement currently, where unity is the cornerstone of all the activities being embraced within the trade union movement. For the establishment of an alternative organisation in a region like Newcastle tends to fly in the face of the national trend. So I'm amazed and rather bemused by the fact that it's even been established at all.
Parties to the dispute appeared before Deputy President Varnum in the Commission first thing this morning. The hearing concerned stoppages which began Sunday night over the proposed reallocation of labour within the board's headworks section. This afternoon, Mr Varnum handed down his recommendations, which were that all striking workers go back and talks begin between the Employees Association and the Water Board. A meeting of the Committee of Management of the indoor staff was yet to decide on rank and file consideration. However, the wages division or outdoor staff have been called together at the Broadmeadow Police Boys Club at 10 o'clock in the morning. Chris Ford of the Water Board said the system is coping despite some breakdowns.
We are getting adequate supplies of clean and safe water from our major and minor sources. There have been a number of main breaks around the area. Some have been repaired with the assistance of the employees of the Employees Association members, but there are a couple of breaks which haven't been repaired. One at Hexham, which means that about 6 commercial and industrial properties are without water, and in George Street, North Lambton, there are about 3 homes that have been without water all day.
Any health risks as far as the waste disposal side of things is concerned?
Not at this stage. There may be some minor sewer surcharges that are unsightly, and certainly some of the operations of the wastewater treatment plants are not what we would like to see, but at this stage there is no health risk to the public.
Good afternoon, I'm Helen Hughes. In tonight's news, the future of the coal industry. The Joint Coal Board has compiled a report which indicates tough times ahead for export mines, with up to 14 collieries in the northern fields in danger of closing.
For all the news,
Join us tonight
at 6.
The cause for concern is the spillway. 4 years ago when it was built, it met the standards, and according to the Water Resources Commission, the dam could withstand any flood that has so far been recorded.
There's no problem with the dam. The problem we're facing is the deficiency in the spillway to be able to handle a probable maximum flood.
And that's going to be rectified?
That'll be rectified. We've been advised it should be rectified in the next 4 or 5 years. Once that is rectified, the problem that we're facing now will be removed.
The spillway can take 54% of the flood flow, but the new international criteria, which was brought to the government's attention by the Bureau of Meteorology, says this isn't good enough, and it should be able to take 100% of the flow. No one has been able to quantify exactly how much rainfall would be needed to make the dam overflow, but the Water Resources Commission says there is a possibility, no matter how remote, that until the $4 million is spent to upgrade the spillway, that the dam could overflow. Being an earthen wall, it could then erode, forcing a wall of water into Singleton and flooding any other town in its path to the sea. Until the spillway is upgraded, an early warning system is being installed.
It's an interim measure of safety anyway, but we know that the radio systems and warning systems will remain after the reconstruction of the spillway for the dam itself.
The worst possible scenario the committee is planning for is a flood of the same magnitude, if not worse than the 1955 flood, coupled with the bursting of the dam. Then they have 4 hours to evacuate the 6,000 residents and head for the hills of Singleton Heights. Sergeant Brian Carr says although the possibility is remote, he says people should not be complacent.
If and when a decision is made to evacuate the people, that decision won't be made lightly, and it will be made taking into account all relevant information that's flowing in from all the various sources, the present weather conditions, the predicted weather conditions, and when that decision is made, we do want the people to go.
It's been a busy week for the 3 actors starring in Australia's first dinner theatre production. Derek Fowles, Abigail and Nicholas Papadimitriou met for the first time last week when the English visitor arrived from the UK, and already it's been a hectic schedule.
Well, I feel I've not seen Australia yet because having arrived on Saturday we've done nothing but go and do TV interviews and radio interviews, and I've yet to get out and see the countryside. But the drive up here has been marvellous because it is a very, very beautiful country that you live in.
In the United States and Asia, dinner theatre is growing in popularity. It's performed after an a la carte meal, somewhere in between dessert and coffee.
Dinner theatre represents a new concept in performance. Will this change Australian theatre in general?
People don't even go to flicks anymore because they take a video cassette home, and I think it's a lovely combination. You go out, have a delightful meal, sit back in the same place, you don't have to bother about moving, and see a lovely play. So I think it's going to bring a lot of people in comfort.
And for the English visitor, when the show finishes in July, it's back to the television studios for the next series of Yes, Prime Minister.
Yes, I go back and do the last series of Yes, Prime Minister beginning in October. So you'll see that, I think, next year.
And what about more stage work? What's happening there?
Yeah, I like to go into the theatre every year, but I don't know what's happening next year. Maybe I'll come back and do another play, if this is any good.
The fire began just before 5 o'clock this morning in the house at 16 Bull Street, Maitland. 3 fire units from Maitland, East Maitland and Tulare raced to the house, which was well alight when they arrived. The occupants were a young married couple and their 3-year-old daughter and 6-month-old baby girl. All managed to get out before the fire took hold. A relative said the mother had noticed nothing wrong when she fed the baby at 3 a.m. However, at 10 to 5, her husband thought he noticed a light had been left on. It was this he discovered to be the fire. The 3-bedroom weatherboard cottage was gutted and will have to be demolished. Nearly everything in the house was destroyed. The young family had not insured their belongings and are now staying with relatives. The fire started from an electrical fault, with a fire brigade spokesman estimating damage to the house at $25,000. 38 teams from as far away as the southern tablelands, Maxwell and Guyra, took part of the 2-day championships, involving 242 competitors and horses. The championships will decide the top club in the state, with most clubs entering teams from A to D grade, mixed and juniors. On Saturday, 57 matches were played on the 3 fields, which today were almost devoid of grass, especially centre field. 40 matches were decided today, including all finals. The overall club champions were Burradoo with 33 points ahead of Maxwell 32. The A-grade mixed title went to Maitland, which beat Muswellbrook in the final 28-17. The A-grade men's title was won by Maxwell over Burradoo 22-19. And finally, the champion horse went to Graham Wilson on Bo Diddley from Maitland.
Mark Honker puts down a nice bounce, gets a stable bounce, and that's a good goal there from Guyra.
In tonight's news at 6, Newcastle lawn bowlers today made their mark in the state pennants competition. Charlestown made it through to the state #1 pennant final in Sydney, while Cahaiba made the state #2 final at the entrance.
For all the news,
join us tonight
at 6.
It's set in the penal colony time of New South Wales, where convicts were assigned to the free settlers to help them work on their farms or in their shops. These particular 3 convicts have been assigned to do some repair work around the shop of one of the local storekeepers.
And the play is a comedy?
It is a comedy, yes. It shows how the 3 convicts become involved with the family's affairs and what's happening in the family. They eventually help the storekeeper being stopped from being embezzled out of his store. They help the younger daughter get rid of a very unsuitable lover, and they also help to tidy things up around the store and get the storekeepers' books back in order, so they really become involved with the everyday life of this family.
The play is set in Australian colonial time. Just how much research has gone in for its modern-day production?
Well, we've had to do a lot of research because we'd suddenly have to stop and think, well, did they use matches in those days? What sort of drink did they have in those days? What sort of money? What music? What clothes did they wear? So all our costumes and the set is all has come from research that we've done into books, and we've made copies from books and used patterns that we've found from those particular times.
My Three Angels opens at Hamilton's Roxy Theatre tomorrow night.
Members of the jury, I say to you, my client is no criminal.
An army bomb disposal expert was flown in from Sydney today to assess this house in Hamilton, which police have been told is booby-trapped and will blow up anyone who enters. Police have been keeping a vigil outside the house since Saturday to ensure that nobody enters. Neighbours who live in the other part of the semi-detached dwelling arrived back from a long weekend camping trip to find that they cannot stay in their house. The army expert, an engineer from Moorebank, arrived on the scene at about 12:30 today. After walking all round the house, he decided that it was too risky to enter. Although the view from the windows show no sign of a device, he claims not enough could be seen and the house may be booby-trapped.
It's very difficult at this stage to say anything, but certainly on the indications that the police, the evidence the police have picked up, we've got to look at it reasonably seriously. So.
A team comprised of Army Special Risk Engineers from Townsville in Moorebank will be flown into Newcastle tomorrow. The house is the residence of a man involved in an incident late on Saturday afternoon at the Hunter Hospital. A man burst into the nurses' quarters of the hospital armed with a hand grenade. Police were called in and managed to wrestle the grenade, which had its strike pin pulled, away from the man and threw it into a neighbouring sports field.
Export market.
Catherine Hill Bay has a long history as a coal mining area. Like many mining regions, its future was looking fairly bleak. But Coal and Allied have hit on a way which might help the area gain access to lucrative new markets. The key is that coal in the Catherine Hill Bay area has low sulphur levels, making it attractive for use by European power stations because it causes less acid rain. To gain access to these markets, however, Coal and Allied will have to reduce the amount of ash in their coal.
As you are aware, the international coal trade is very restricted, especially in Japan, but the company believes that by improving the quality of our product coal by more intensive coal preparation processes, that we will be able to achieve additional markets for the Wallara brand coal in the European market.
The expansion will be done in stages. The first stage will see the introduction of equipment to wash fine coal that is currently unwashed. This would significantly lower the ash content. The expansion will eventually create new coal stockpiling and coal handling facilities. But the company has not yet got the green light. It is planned for an area where Lake Macquarie City Council and Wyong Shire boundaries join. Yesterday, development applications were lodged with the two councils, and an environmental impact statement will go on display later this month.
And Coal and Allied does not expect a huge outcry from environmentalists. It scrapped elements of the proposal that are likely to be the most controversial.
The company abandoned a proposal to use heathland in the area after its consultants indicated its high conservation value.